Good morning! This is your math teacher Dylan, attempting to record for the first time a math video for you. This is a new era filled with so much uncertainty, and that is especially true of this video. I have tried recording a few of these already, and the audio has been so random. So I apologize in advance if at random times during this video you pick up sounds from who knows whether it be my stomach that starts gargling, whether it be sounds like papers that are fumbling around in the background or traffic. I'm going to do the best I can. I've got some audio equipment that is ordered that will hopefully get here in the next couple weeks and make these much better. But for now, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure I have this up in time to help you with your first lesson of quarter 4 during this new distance learning for all era. All right. On that note, good morning. Hopefully you have access to your Integrated 2 login page from home. You can see my name on the top right screen here. If you don't see your name, make sure to log out and log back in as your account so you can get credit for the work you do. Once you are logged in, scroll down. You will see topic 1 was the stuff we did quarter 1. Topic 2 was the stuff we did for quarter 2. Topic 3, stuff we did for quarter 3, and we only got part of the way through, sadly, before COVID-19 halted us in our tracks, and we were only able to get through this lesson. Now, you'll notice that I spent a lot of time last week, and I not only made sure that all the notes and PowerPoint links were working and accurate, but I updated the name of the lesson next to it so that if the link ever breaks again, and many of these were broken, and I apologize for that, we know where to go to get to them. So this says Geometry 4.5, so what that means, just so you know, is that if you go to My Courses, in addition to seeing our Integrated 1, 2, 3, you have all these other names of books, and so that one said Geometry. You could hit Geometry, you could click on that, and then there's all of the units, and you would just scroll until you found, for that case, 4.5, and it would say exponents and roots number 2, and then there'd be all sorts of choices. Actually, sorry, I wouldn't say number 2, it would just say exponents and roots. You could click on a PowerPoint, you can click on PDFs of worksheets and various things, but that's what that means. Okay, so when you click on your core focus today, you will see only one topic 4 assignment unlocked. This is not unlocked yet because I'm recording this before the assignment becomes visible, but it's going to be called Three-Dimensional Figures, and you'll see that's from the Shapes and Angles book 3.1. So again, you can press Notes/PowerPoint and get that, or you can click on this video, which should hopefully say like Dylan's teaching video on it with a link itself that I'm going to add after I'm done teaching this, and that should pull up this video. Okay, so let's dive right in. I'm going to click on that. Notice I've already previewed it. I'm going to preview it again. For you, it's going to say Attempt Quiz Now. You should get to this page. Now, this is the first starter assignment for this new era. I know a lot of you guys are nervous out there. So are teachers, let me tell you. We're all just going to do the best we can. I'm going to be as very descriptive as I can be in these videos, so that if I'm going too slow, you could always skip ahead. If I'm going too fast at times, you could rewind. It's the beauty of these videos. Instead of having to raise your hand and ask me to repeat something, you can simply just go back and watch it again. All right, number 1. Name a solid that fits the description below. Be careful, spelling counts, and be specific. A can of soda is best described as a blank. So notice, a lot of questions we have are multiple choice, or they involve typing in a number. This is a rare one where we actually type in a word, and we have to know what word is a can of soda in terms of a geometric shape. Now maybe you know, and maybe you can type it in and see if you get it right before I even do this. And for those of you especially who like to work through these very fast and on your own, that's kind of a cool thing, is try it out first on your own, and then if you miss it, you can redo it and then maybe allow my explanation to play through. Or if you know, oh, this is where he's going, then you can pause me again, try it again. We can just work at whatever pace you are at compared to me. This should really help everyone. Okay, can of soda. So you'll notice I have 2 windows open. This Desmos graphing calculator is going to be something I leave open for all the videos, and I recommend you do this when you're doing your homework as well. You won't always need it, but it's nice to know that if you do, it's there for you. Now, I miss our graphing calculators, our yellow TI-84 pluses that we have in my classroom so much, just like you do. They were looking so cool. We had art students painting SpongeBob pictures and other wonderful works of art on the front of them. They'll be there when we return to school, whenever that is. For now, use this as your calculator. And a reminder, you can just click on this keyboard button and it has all the buttons for you. It has a functions button that has all these other ones. You can type in graphs and it graphs for you. It does lots and lots of things. So this is really cool to have throughout this whole time together. But you can also open up new tabs like I've done here and look at what a can of soda looks like. I'm looking at a lot of different kinds of soda. I see the Coke versus Pepsi battle. That's a war that will define a generation. I see Sprite. I see down here a lot of my favorites like root beer and orange soda. Was that is that Hawaiian Punch right there? I don't know. Hawaiian Punch was definitely my favorite growing up. That may be. Cool. Anyway, what shape is a can of soda? So I also opened a different tab that has some nice refresher. This is a vocabulary unit, first and foremost. There's not going to be a lot of computation today. So check it out. We've got cubes, rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, spheres, pyramids, cones, and boom, there's the can of soda looking one on the top left in green. It's a cylinder, and notice how it's spelled. We make fun of the English language a lot, that it just doesn't make sense. It seems like cylinders should be like S-I-L-U-N blah. Instead, it is C-Y-L-I-N-D-E-R. And if you're watching this video and you've never seen one of these lessons before, first of all, welcome. Secondly, you'll notice that when you get it right, you get a message in green as this is filled in with a green check mark up here. And it sometimes, in the rarest of times, this is always, isn't it, you get a nice pun. So a can of soda, it tells you, you can do it. I can feel the eye rolls from across town. I just love it so much. So there you go. That's number one. Let's move on to number two. Name a solid that fits the description below. Once again, be careful, spelling counts, and be specific. A shoebox. So as I was looking this up to find helpful images on this side, I saw a lot of cuboids out there, and that is technically a name for it. But what this question wants is what this picture says. It wants a rectangular prism. And be careful as you're typing this in. Like I just was there. Now granted, I have my iPad in one hand. I'm using a program called Doceri, which is why it says that on this video the whole time. I'm able to record and write on this iPad, so I can show you that right now. So throughout all these lessons, I can be writing on this iPad, just like I'm at my smartboard. But to do that is, it's kind of a complicated thing. I've got the iPad in my left hand, my Mac in front of me, a stylus pen in my right hand. I have headphones connected to audio. Again, none of it's ideal, but it's the best we have right now. And again, I continually apologize. I'm a little cringy to go back and watch all the random sounds that are probably going to come up in this video because I don't have a mic yet. But we're just going to make the best with what we got. And your teacher Dylan is here for you, as he always is. And referring to himself in the third person for some reason. All right, number three. Name a solid that fits the description below. Be careful, spelling counts, and be specific. So the last one of these, fill in the blanks. A basketball can best be described as a blank. It's a ball. Well, yes. But it's also a three-dimensional circle. And sure enough, our notes that are over here on the right, this red ball-looking thing is a sphere. Tough word to say, even tougher to spell. S-P-H-E-R-E. Again, watch the typing as I type with the one finger that's not attached to the stylus. Ashton, that was for you. All right, you shoot, you score. There is another pun. Woo! All right, number four. Decide whether the statement is true or false. A cone has two bases. Well, let me remind you what a bass is. Bass is not only a low singer in choir. I was a bass for many years, especially before puberty. Oh, no! But it's the bottom or top of a shape. Like in this case, the cone has one base, that's a circle. But this rectangular prism has two bases, On the ends here that are rectangles, though this specific picture kind of looks like squares. This triangular prism is maybe a better example. There's a triangle here and a triangle on the other side that has two bases. So prisms have two bases, cones have one base, pyramid also has one base. So in this case, a cone has two bases? No, that's wrong. And notice, if you're following along, we are now getting to the point where your assignment, you're going to have different questions than me. They're going to be similar, and maybe you'd have the same one, but you could also have ones that talk about pyramids, that talk about maybe a cone having one base. So don't just hit false because you see me hit false. Read your problem, compare it to these notes. You can even look on my screen over here and make sure you're answering your question, not mine. And that's true for every one of these coming up. All right, a cylinder is more like a pyramid than a prism. A cylinder is more like a pyramid than a prism. Well, a cylinder is not exactly like a prism or a pyramid, but once again, a cylinder, just like we said before, has two bases. A prism has two bases, and a pyramid only has one. And so even though there's circles over here, and there's rectangles over here, a cylinder is definitely more like a prism than a pyramid because it has the same number of bases. So therefore, it is false that it's more like a pyramid than a prism. Ooh, and it tells me I'm a rock star, so no pun, but a very, call a random message to receive, and I appreciate it. Trying to be a rock star with these videos, especially under all circumstances considering. Number 6, a prism has two bases that are not congruent. Right away, a little reminder, congruent is a fancy math word that means equal. Why does it say congruent and not equal? Because it's a math lesson and it's trying to be fancy. Two bases that are not congruent is literally the opposite of what a prism is. A prism does have two bases that are congruent. Therefore, this is false. And again, if you have, I don't know, the opposite, a prism has two bases that are congruent, well then, that's going to be true. All right, 6 out of 10, done. I'm telling you, this is a nice assignment to start with this new era. Nice and easy to get rolling from home. And I hope that you are all doing well out there somewhere in the world. All right, a pyramid with 9 faces. Okay, more vocabulary. A face of a pyramid. What does that mean? Well, a face of a pyramid or a face of any of these geometric shapes is going to be the outside, I guess we'd call them, just sides, really. What you think of as the side of an object. So how like a Rubik's Cube, a lot of you guys are much better than me at that. You know that has 6 outside sides. Those are 6 outside faces. A pyramid. So if I go to, there's a prism. Let's open a new one here. Let's talk about a triangular. And again, I type in this with one hand. Google Images is just so nice. Okay, so if I look at this triangular pyramid right here, this is going. It's got 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom 4 faces. You'll notice that pyramids have the same number of faces as the base, like this is a triangle, plus the bottom. So it's got 3 for the triangle plus the bottom for a total of 4. This is going to be true for every single pyramid. So if I have a 6-sided base for a pyramid, a hexagon, it's going to have 6 faces for each of the sides of the hexagon plus the bottom is 7. So therefore, on this problem, when it starts you with a number of faces, a pyramid with 9 faces, we need to subtract 1. So look at your problem. Again, don't look at mine, because the odds are that you have a different number than mine. So if you have 7, you're going to subtract 1 from 7. If you have 5, you're going to subtract 1 from 5. That's the number. For me, this 8. That's the number you want to match up with these shapes. And then once you have that number, let's review how many sides each of these have. Well, we're going to start with the easiest one, triangle. Anytime you see the word try in anything, always think 3. Tricycles have 3 wheels. Triplets, of which I am one. 3 siblings. A tripod has 3 legs for a camera. Triangle, 3 sides. Then you go up one. Rectangle. 4 sides. Then we have Pentagon. If you think of one of those old stars that people used to draw, or a pentagram, it has these 5 points. So you can always remember that pent means 5 by thinking of that. Then we go from this controversial symbol to, speaking of pentagram, If you think of the old 666 number, that is placing a hex on somebody, and a hex will mean 6. Sorry about how that 6 and 5 are meshing together. Let me space them out for you. There we go. And that leaves hept and oct. Now, oct is the easier one. That's octopus, or like a stop sign is an octagon, 8 sides. Hept is always the one that is sort of uniquely left out on its own. I don't know a good way of memorizing that. I remember a student told me something good last year, but I forget what it was. If you think of a good one, I know I'm going to try and put these on YouTube, so I think there should be a comment section below. Comment a good, hopefully school appropriate, but if not, I guess I'll take any suggestions to start. Maybe I can make them school appropriate. What is a way of memorizing so I can help present and future students that hept means 7? I look forward to all of your creative ideas out there. All right, so we want to match up 8, though. Remember, 8 is our number. So 8, oh, that's oct. Now, what I recommend you doing right now, if you have a phone, unless you're doing this on your phone, take a picture of this little screen right here that has all the vocabulary. Or you can just leave your video, sort of look at what time it is. I think right now it's about 16 minutes, 16:20 mark. You can skip back to this for these last 4 problems anytime you need to remember, if you forget, what these vocabulary terms are, because we're going to use them for these last 4 problems. All right, but for me, 8 is oct, so I'm going to select octagonal. That's a tough word to pronounce. A lot of people say octagonal, and one way that I try and memorize that it's octagonal is you give yourself a little accent. Octagonal, hexagonal, pentagonal. I don't know what kind of accent that is. My wife appropriately says I'm really bad with accents, but it's some sort of accent. Pentagonal. There you go. All right, number 8. We just have 3 problems left. A prism with 9 total faces is a blank prism. Okay, so just like we did before with the pyramid, where we subtracted our base to find out the sides, we're going to do the same thing with this prism, but because it has 2 bases, one on top and one on bottom, like here's a hexagonal prism, I'm going to subtract 2. So if I have 9 total faces, again, don't use my number if you don't have the same 9 that I have. Whatever number you have, subtract 2. That is going to be how many sides are on my base, and therefore the kind of shape that we have for our prism. So if you had 6 total faces, you'd subtract 2 and get 4. That would be rectangular. But for me, 7, that's that one again that I'm hoping you can find a clever way of memorizing. Heptagonal. Heptagonal. And this one says, genius! Well, thank you. It's very, very kind of you, assignment, to let us know that you think we're a genius. Very, very kind. All right, final 2 problems, then we're done. This has been fun. I hope all of you out there can hear this well and that there aren't too many random noises, but again, no promises. All right, a pyramid with 4 vertices is a blank pyramid. Ooh, another vocabulary word. Vertices. Okay, let's go back to a pyramid here. Just like we had faces where the outside sides of our shape, our vertices are the points on the outside of our pyramid that end up matching our faces. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 faces on my pyramid, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. And the top is what's known as the apex, just like it says right here. So that's cool. Therefore, I can do the same thing I did with faces and subtract 1 because it's a pyramid. So take your number. Again, I've got 4, so I subtract 1, and that's 3. And that is a triangular object because 3 means try. So now I'm going to select try. And again, if you forget, like heptagonal means 7, which hopefully you haven't because we've had it a few times already, but if you're still forgetting, you can go backwards and look at that spot I told you to save on the vocab from a few problems ago. All right, finally, a prism with 18 edges is a blank prism. For this one, I'm going to draw you a prism, and thank thank the Lord that I have technology, because as you all know, I am such a poor artist. Failed handwriting from the 4th grade. Never got better after that. But I can use this shape tool to make my own prism. So I'm going to use a rectangular prism here, and I can also copy this shape and post it. That's why these are going to be literally perfectly congruent rectangles. And then I could connect them. I think I'm going to use a different shade of purple. Purple's my favorite color, by the way. I'm going to connect them, the corners, and look how they're perfectly connecting. Again, that's with the technology. Wish I could claim that. To form this prism. Now, right away, a fun activity you can do, especially if you're getting bored, because this is now over 20 minutes, is you just sort of space out and stare at this thing and see what side you see as the front. Do you see this rectangle as the front? Or do you see this rectangle as the front? Did you see it change? If not, keep staring at it. You should see it change back and forth, 2 different views depending on how you're looking at it. And it's kind of fun. And if you do it too long, you could sort of forget where you're at and that time is existing. Maybe I can leave that up there for later if you get bored. But for now, let's look at it and talk about edges. Okay, so edges are specifically, it's another vocabulary term. They are the marks on the outside that connect our vertices. So I've got 4 on top, I've got 4 on bottom, and then I've got 4 on the sides. So, man, this is tough to draw. But so I've got 4, 4, and 9, 10. I guess it's getting confusing because it's overlapping in 2. I'm just going to get rid of it. You know what? Just trust me. 4 on top, 4 on bottom, 4 on the sides for a total of 12. So in general, you have however many sides are on your base times 3 to cover the 3 on top, the 3 on bottom, and the 3 on the sides. Now, I told you to leave open that Desmos calculator. And here's an example. Now you can use your phone calculator, or maybe you don't even need a calculator for this. But take however many edges you have, like I've got 18, and you're going to divide it by 3 because we're going backwards. You can either use the little slash next to the right shift key on your keyboard, or you can hit divide right there. And you'll notice this calculator just spits out the answer right there. That tells you the number of sides of the base, and again, how this prism is identified. So for me, that's a 6-sided figure. And now I remember in my vocabulary that your teacher told you about putting a hex on somebody. The dreaded 666. So that would be, for me, hexagonal. Using that accent again, that accent. So I'm going to click hexagonal, and voila, I should be correct. It's kind of a boring message to end it, but you know it's not boring. Look at that beautiful 10 different filled in green check marks. Boy, does that look good. I could finish the attempt now. I can look at all those corrects. All the points, full points for each of them. I hit submit, and voila, 100%. You can see I'm recording this video on Wednesday, April 8th. It tells you the time. It tells you how long it took you to do it. This video is a little bit longer than that because I started recording a few minutes before I began the assignment. And there you go. I have no idea how this is going to sound. Again, for the 3rd or 4th, however many time, I could not apologize enough. This is not going to sound necessarily great right off the bat, but I'm telling you, just like you're doing your best out there, I'm doing my best here. I'm going to try and hope that this was something that made sense to you. Please email me with your comments or comment below if this is on YouTube like I'm planning to. Let me know if it made sense. Let me know if you have any suggestions. Again, the audio is a suggestion I automatically know is going to be there, and I'm going to try and make it better as I figure out how to use this. I dove into iMovie for a few hours yesterday. I'm going to really try and figure out how to edit and splice and maybe make a cool intro or something. All teachers are learning for the first time right now. Everyone's a first-year teacher again. It's all happened so fast. And we just ask you to have some grace and kindness out there as we do our best. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I hope you're safe, you're healthy, you're well. I love and miss you all, and am just so happy to connect with you in this way and get you this video. Until next time, this has been Class Away from Class.